So, I really enjoyed this week's episode of Invincible for several reasons. One is I love the dynamic that we saw between Oliver, Mark, and Eve in the sense that Oliver refuses to listen to Mark, but he likes to listen to Eve, which is great. We saw Oliver trying to become like a more of like a superhero, where he fights the elephant, which is cool. But at the same time, Oliver makes a really good point at the dinner table after the fight, and he's telling his mom, it's like, hey, Mark is making me fight the elephant, but I could end the fight in like one punch. Not necessarily unaliving the elephant, but just kind of knocking the elephant out like in 2 seconds. And I couldn't agree with Oliver more, because in the world of Invincible, right, you have superheroes running around and then like super villains destroying the entire city. And if you have the power to end the fight or stop the fight in like 2 seconds, why don't you? Right? Specifically Mark, right? Fine, if you want to give the villain a chance to be like, hey, calm down. We don't have to go down this route or this and that. Fine. And then when they don't listen, why do you have to pull your punches? Just go. Like, just there. Done. Fight over. No collateral damage. All buildings are intact. Maybe like one car gets thrown because the villain doesn't want to listen. But other than that, cool. Done. Over with. And like Oliver has a point. I stand with Oliver on that. Okay? Besides that, we see Powerplex, which was really cool in the sense that he reminded me a lot of the Sokovia Accords in Captain America Civil War, because of the fact that he's like, Invincible was never held accountable for like all the destruction and all the lives lost back in the Chicago incident back in season 1, where Invincible fights Omni-Man, which is like really true. I'm not necessarily siding with the Sokovia Accords and whatnot, but it's just kind of like Powerplex did have a point where it's like Invincible was never really held accountable for. Everyone just kind of praised Invincible because he stopped Omni-Man from taking over the Earth, right? In the end, Invincible saves the day and he puts Powerplex behind bars, which was cool. But also we learned that there's a memorial and like the Chicago incident with just a whole bunch of names written of the people that lost their lives during the incident. And I thought that was interesting in the sense that it showed Mark how much Cecil protected him from like the world that Mark is in the sense that Eve did bring it up to Mark and it's like, hey, Mark, Cecil did kind of protect you because Mark didn't really have a notion of this, I guess, memorial, which is really interesting. And it also kind of just shows that Mark did go back to Donald. It's like, hey, Donald, I need your help with, getting some research and like background on this Powerplex guy, which was cool. But yeah, we also see like an orb spine on Mark again, so I'm very curious to know who that orb belongs to. I'm relatively sure it's going to belong to this guy or this guy. We know that they're going to be voice actors in this season, but we just don't know what characters they're going to be voicing. So I'm pretty sure it's one of those two. If not, they're both in cahoots. But yeah.